Hello and welcome back to the Metamystic Show. Today we are talking about shadow people and the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is a card of what's secret, what's hidden. Today I'm talking to seers because you could be sitting in a room of people and you could say, does it feel kind of weird in here? And there may be even multiple people that say, yeah, it does have kind of a weird vibe, you know? But if you're a seer, you can tap into that and actually look around the room and see what's there. I've been able to see things since I was a child, and I want to talk about 3 shadow people experiences that I've had. And I'd love to hear from you guys. If any of the stuff that I'm saying here sounds familiar or it sparks memories, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to read everybody's stories on your experiences with shadow people. Now, I used to call them demons. And for many years, I called them demons. I remember when I was 14 years old, I was flying to Orlando, reading a book on a plane by Kenneth Hagin called Demons. I think it was about 14 years old that I started to deeply study demonology in a more serious way. I had had many spiritual experiences through my early years, actually even more than I had later on. It was almost as if I had all these experiences that I'm going to explain a little bit here as a child. And then when I hit those teenage years, I was like, I need to figure out what all of this means. And so then I took that next portion from like 14 to 21, studying. And then when I was about in my early 20s, around 21, I went into full-time ministry with my parents, where I then began to, at the time, not saying I agree with any of this now necessarily, but I would pray for demons to leave people's bodies, to leave people's lives. Exorcisms, essentially, is what I specialized in. I know that's interesting. I know. Maybe you wouldn't have expected that. But yes, that was my specialty. I worked in what my side of Christianity called deliverance ministry, which is what it sounds like, being delivered from these dark entities, right? Now, I'm going to go into all that another day. I really want to focus on what are these things? What are these shadow people? I'm calling them shadow people because that's what I've found that our community tends to call them, more so than like demons, right? And I'm just going to throw this in here. I don't think all demons are bad, and I'll talk about that another day. I think that there are some demons that we actually should work with, and this is a high priestess note here. The high priestess has the light and the dark. She understands both, and she knows how to work with both. It's like having friends on both sides, sort of a thing. You know, I'm Italian. It's like the mafia. You know what I mean? All right. I am Italian. Okay. I'm sure there is some people in my family line that are in the freaking mafia, love and light. Now, let me tell you 3 shadow people experiences that I had. The first one that I remember as clear as day. We moved to Glastonbury. Well, I grew up in Glastonbury in Connecticut, but I moved to the other side of town when I was 6 years old. When we moved into that house, I had my own bedroom. And when I was in that bedroom, I started to have this experience where in the corner of the room, I saw this as tall as the ceiling, like 9 feet tall, all black figure. And I was gonna say man, but it's not, I didn't think about it as like man or anything like that. It was an entity. But I saw this man as tall as the ceiling, very slender, couldn't make out the face, don't even know if he had one. It was like he was wearing a black cloak, but it wasn't really a cloak. It was like it was just one piece. It didn't look like he was wearing clothes. So this is what makes me think that it was some sort of interdimensional being, which for many years I called demons. I hope you guys stay till the end because I'm going to play for you my new song that was inspired by this Seven of Swords, and it's called Wandering Soul. So anyways, let's get back to it. There's a man named Mike Ricksecker who has specialized in shadow people for the past 30 years. He has this show called The Shadow Dimension. It's on Tubi. I actually started watching it because I wanted to hear what some other stories were. When that man was in the corner of the room, it was not just a one-off experience. This was something that was with me for years, every single night. Right? I would shiver under my covers to the point it felt like I had a fever. I was so terrified that I actually began to sleep in my parents' bedroom on their rocking chair. It was like a plush lazy boy rocking chair. And I would just put on my mom's Walkman and blast worship music. And my dad used to get mad at me because I would sing out loud, and he would be like, "Shh, we're trying to sleep, miss." And that was the only thing that would calm me down. I would rock back and forth on the rocking chair, and I would sing my praises to God. But this being, it would emanate this fear upon me, and then I think it would either feed off the energy or it was observing the energy, it would be studying the energy. And they typically do this to kids because I do feel like this particular entity was nefarious, right? I've had other experiences where there are these watchers that have watched me, and I think that they're kind of just taking notes. But this particular experience, especially because I was a child, it's like fresh meat for these things. And it's almost like they harvest the energy from the child. I'm not going to pretend to understand all of the mechanics behind it. I'm a Virgo. Trust me, I've tried. I've spent many, many years trying to figure this stuff out. And now I'm I'm getting my second wind. I started at 14. I went to 21. I spent years in ministry with hands-on work, boots on the ground stuff with people. And then I left my Christian ministry that I built because the work that I did was with my parents, and then I built my own ministry, and then I worked with people myself on these things, right? And then I had an angelic visitation. Many of you know my story. The angel told me to leave my ministry behind with no other information, and I just obeyed it. Then I went through a rigorous 2 to 3 year spiritual awakening experience or initiation. As I've been running this channel, building this channel, started in 2021, we're now in 2024, June of 2024, and I now feel like as we speak today, I'm back on my bullshit. I'm studying this guy. What's his name again? Sorry, Mike. Mike Ricksecker. It's a hard name for me to remember. Anyways, I'm back on my Virgo thing where I'm all right, I'm back in the game. Let's get back to the work, right? So, anyways, if you want to know more detail, I would study this guy because he has a show, like I mentioned, called The Shadow Dimension. He has videos on YouTube. But anyways. So the first one, it was this tall, slender thing and this went on for years. I slept in my parents' room until I was 10, 11 years old. This was years and years and years and years. Second experience, very similar. I would sleep over at my grandma's house, Grammy. She had this big staircase from the, she had this big, beautiful walk-in where you could walk up the stairs. There was a chandelier there. She used to get mad at the kids because we would pick off the little diamond crystal things on it. Anyways, we would go up this staircase and you could see the entire hallway from downstairs. Anyways, there was this slender different than the first one. It was this thing that would like pace back and forth on that hallway. And every time I slept over Grammy's house while I was in the bedroom, I used to sleep in my Aunt Lori's old bedroom there, and it would pace back and forth all night long. And this message is for seers, right? Because it wasn't necessarily with the naked eye that I saw this, but it might as well have been. That's how clear the imagery was. It was like there was no distinction, but I could also understand an atheist being like, okay, this is bullshit. I understand both sides, and I've played in both sides. Let's just say that. Tried to not believe in it. Let's just say that. Third experience, and I've had many more, but these are in my earlier years that I truly like remember very clearly, that were multiple occurrences. It wasn't just like a one-off experience. I've had a lot of those one-offs. I've experienced ghosts as well. I've had lots of paranormal experiences, but this is a specific thing. This is shadow people, right? There's like an intention here. They know who you are. This specific thing that I'm saying today, and like I said, there are different types of shadow people, and I'm not going to go into that today, but this is another type that I saw. Story number 3. I was in New Hampshire at summer camp when I was like 14, and I had this strange phenomenon happening that I started to, the camp counselor, it's a really strange experience to describe. It was like suddenly everything shifted, like a filter went over my eyes, and it was beautiful. I loved that camp. It wasn't like a bad experience. It wasn't traumatizing, nothing. Beautiful, the White Mountains in New Hampshire, gorgeous scenery. I was having a good time, but something weird happened and it wasn't this camp counselor. The camp counselor wasn't evil or anything. It was like something happened. A filter went over my eyes, and her eyes turned bright red, and I kept blinking my eyes like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And it kept happening, and like eating dinner, and it happened again, the red eyes. And it's like, I kept seeing those red eyes. This had never happened to me before. And then we were all in the bunk beds at night. Everybody was asleep, and the camp counselor was asleep. But out of her bunk, it was almost like this wolf sort of a spirit figure with these red eyes, and it stared at me all night. And I've heard other stories of people talking about these beings with red eyes. That was the only time I ever saw the red eye phenomenon. But that went on for the week that I was at camp. I wasn't really that scared because I had had multiple experiences before this, but I was just like, I've never seen that before. Hey guys, it is hours later, and I'm currently editing. Very weird phenomenon has happened here, and I literally was just watching that guy that I mentioned, Mike, what is his name? Rickelson? I don't know, I'll put it up here. Love and light to this dude, I keep forgetting his name. But I was watching him talk about this phenomenon of the Hat Man, okay, with another guy. And every single time he interviewed this dude about this Hat Man, the audio would cut. Literally, they have so much footage of it. Every single time he talked about the Hat Man, it would cut. Okay? I have this entire episode. No problem with the audio.
In shadow people for the past.
Then we get here.
I'm just going to throw a fourth one in here because this is the most recent one that I've experienced. And it actually happened to me. Well, it's happened to me over the past 2 years.
So at that part, I have no clue. This has never happened to me before. Suddenly, hold on. Sorry. Just a second. Suddenly, right when I'm like, I'm going to tell you guys a fourth story. I wasn't going to because I thought it was kind of questionable, this, talking about choking and stuff. I didn't know if it would be triggering. But now I'm like, excuse me? Look at this. Sorry if this hurts your ears. Wait for it. And then it goes blank the rest of the freaking time. Look. The rest of it, it's blank. All my audio is gone. I mean, I guess in a way, like, first, I'm pissed because, like, I'm not gonna re-record it. So, in a Virgo technical way, I'm like, damn it. But in a way of proving my point of the shadow people for this episode, I'm like, well, I guess that's what happens when you film an episode on shadow people. I don't know. I guess you lose your audio. So, I apologize for the rest of the audio being absolutely terrible, but I'm keeping it because clearly they do not want this story out. Literally laying in this bed, the story I'm gonna tell, I was laying right here the other night, and it felt like it was never gonna end. It was one of the most intense experiences I've ever had. So here it is, bonus story number 4. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Damn it. Damn it, shadow people.
I'm just gonna throw a 4th one in here because this is the most recent one that I've experienced. This was like a week ago. I saw an imagery of this spirit trying to choke me with all of its might. It was evil. It wasn't like, oh, this is interesting to look at. I'm a seer and I'm gonna look into this. I do that all the time, right? I'm always like looking into beyond the veil just when I'm like at the grocery store. That's just my typical life. I've always been this way. Nothing new. 12th house stellium in the house. Let me know down below. Gang. I actually was like, should I go to the hospital? I can't breathe, and this went on for multiple hours, to where I was in a meditative state, almost like a form of sleep paralysis, but I was awake, and this does happen to me sometimes. It was purposely trying to choke me, and I have looked into this particular phenomenon that there are, and I don't know what they're called. There's this particular name for it. I've seen them called pressure demons before, where they actually try to like choke you out. Regardless, this is a phenomenon that's been happening to me since 2021 when I began having this globus sensation phenomenon that is, technically psychosomatic according to Western medical doctor medicine. I personally believe it's spiritual. One time I actually almost waved down the guy putting the carts away when I was at the grocery store. This was at the beginning of my spiritual awakening in 2021 because I was actually passing out from the pressure of being, like, it was physically choking me. This was during the day, but then a week ago, I've never seen anything like this. It was like it was trying to kill me. And I don't want to concern you guys. I know this sounds intense, but there's something in me that's just not scared. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I don't know if it's just because I have like an amazing shout out to my spirit team, because I don't feel scared by it while it was happening. I was just breathing in and out, very focused in a meditative state for about 3 hours, and then it dissipated. But I saw the imagery of it trying to it felt like it was trying to like pop. Like something was trying to pop, like, I know it sounds disgusting, but it was that intense. It was like a murderer trying to strangle me. And yeah, welcome. I don't really know what to say. If that scares you, trigger warning, let's pop on the clown nose. But to me, this is just a regular Tuesday. I'm seeing stuff as I'm talking, up in the ceiling. This black funny strip is moving around right now as I'm speaking. Leave down below your shadow people experiences. I want to know what's going on, because we're probably going to have to do a couple more episodes in this vein, because I could talk about this. I could do a 3-day seminar just on this. And remember, if you guys want to listen to the Metamystic Show, you can listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And here's my song, Wandering Soul.
When I was gone, that's when you came running got to thinking about the past, mesmerized by the sunset revealed the starkest contrast. Sand dunes, I'm a wandering soul, traversing all the places I never wanted to go. Sand dunes, I'm a wandering soul, but I'm witnessing a monolith I never thought I'd behold. Sand dunes, I'm a wandering soul, transfiguration of my consciousness climbing out of its hole. When I was gone, that's when you came running towards me without a trace in the world. When I was gone, I got to thinking about the past, mesmerized by the sunset revealed the starkest contrast. Underneath the stars and underneath the moon is when I finally decided to let go of those balloons. Underneath the stars and underneath the moon is when I finally understood that secrecy is different than mystery, and sympathy is different than empathy. Sand dunes, I'm a wandering soul, traversing all the places I never wanted to go. Sand dunes, I'm a wandering soul, but I'm witnessing a monolith I never thought I'd behold. Sand dunes, I'm a wandering soul, transfiguration of my consciousness climbing out of its hole. When I was gone, that's when you came running towards me without a trace in the world.